Okay, everybody, with WrestleMania 38 officially in the books, and the greatest match I've ever witnessed live in person between Stone Cold Steve Austin and Kevin Owens is officially over with. I'm going to take a look at three matches that Stone Cold Steve Austin needs to have if he decides to step foot back in that square circle. So grab yourself a seat, get a few Steve Weisers, and get ready for the show. Okay, so let's just get into it. After WrestleMania 38, the news came out. Stone Cold Steve Austin has said he feels great, and if they need him next year at WrestleMania 39, he's ready to go. So, I personally, this is me, and it's a few other Stone Cold fans that grew up loving the man that feel the same way that I've chatted with. We don't want to see him have another match. There's no need for it. The 19-year wait was enough. We got that match. We are pleased. Don't try and drag this out like Flair and Hogan and Undertaker and Shawn and Tripp. Don't do it. You got your match in. It was great. Unfortunately, Vince will make that phone call. There's no question about it. He will make that phone call. It's Hollywood. They're gonna want this thing to be bigger than stupendous. And with The Rock there and Bautista, he'll definitely be a part of it in some way, somehow. They're going to want to bring back Stone Cold as well and get him involved to sell them tickets. So, with that said, I'm going to look at the three matches that I think need to happen for Austin if he's going to be doing the comeback and having some matches. But once again, I want to point out, I personally don't think he needs to. He's done. He gave me what I needed. Done. And if you're being greedy and wanting more, shame on you. Let the man live in peace. But enough of that. And before we get to the three, I just want to give an honorable mention shout out to John Cena here because I think if it wasn't for the other three names, I would definitely have him on the list because you have the face of the Attitude Era. Don't argue with me about The Rock. I will not listen to it. It's not an argument. You will win. And then you have the face of the Ruthless Aggression Era, and then all the way into like what 2014, 2015, where John Cena just carried that thing forever. Two of the top three, top four um, draws in the history of professional wrestling, at least in my time era. I'm not gonna get into the stuff before me. I'm not doing it. In my time, in my lifetime, there we go. Two of the top three, four biggest draws in professional wrestling. So that the name alone is gonna sell the match. The promos would be phenomenal. I would love to see Stone Cold just go off the cusp on John Cena because there's not many that can keep up with John Cena. Off the top of his head, he is money every time. Uh, I think he'd have his hands full with old Stone Cold. But he didn't make the list. I just wanted to give him a shout out because I do think the match would be fun. The build up would be amazing, and it would put asses in the seats. So it's not even out of the question. It could definitely happen. I just don't see it happening. Um, and then I'm gonna give you three names that don't need to happen. And people, when Stone Cold's name gets brought up for a next match, these are names are gonna be brought up. I want to see Roman Reigns. I want to see Seth Rollins. I want to see AJ Styles. No, no, no. None of them make sense. So without further ado, I'm gonna jump in to the number three name on the list, and it is none other than Austin Theory. Number one, Austin Theory. Now he's Theory. He got rid of the Austin name. Why did he get rid of the Austin name? Gee, I don't know. Maybe because this guy stunned the shit out of him and Vince McMahon, his Papa to be, whatever you want to call him. He's just always looking up to Vince. He stunned them both at WrestleMania 38, took away their moment. There's your entrance right there. That's why Theory even wants a part of Stone Cold. Number two, Vince McMahon, Stone Cold Steve Austin, the greatest rivalry in the history of professional wrestling. It can continue today. That's simple. And it you just plug in Theory. I can't stand calling him Theory. You just plug in Theory, and then hey, maybe you do a thing where it's like, hey, there's only room for one Austin, and then if he wins, he gets to take the Austin name back, and Stone Cold Steve Austin is no more. Something silly, something stupid like that. It could work. We know Stone Cold's beating Austin Theory, but for storyline purposes, you could do it. And Kevin Owens just main event WrestleMania, and it's the best. He said it himself. He will never top that. So what kind of rub would Austin Theory get by taking on Stone Cold Steve Austin at a WrestleMania? If you didn't think the boy has arrived, that would tell you right there, get ready because he's here for the next 10, 15 years as the guy. So that's me. I think it would be a great opportunity for Theory, um, and a match that makes sense for Stone Cold Steve Austin. And honestly, of the three names, this is the one that makes the most sense to happen for storyline purposes and everything. You just get Theory running his mouth, talking that just like Kevin Owens did, except for this time we don't wait till WrestleMania. Stone Cold comes out, we get a full-on promo. Vince McMahon's involved. It's just that's nostalgia. We get to live that late '90s thing all over again because it was the greatest rivalry in the history of professional wrestling. Number 2 name on this list. It's a match that should have happened a long time ago. It didn't happen because somebody took their boots and went home. It is Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Brock Lesnar. Reason number 1, clearly, it's the match we never got. We were supposed to, we never got it. Brock was supposed to beat him on Raw. Stone Cold said that's not good business and left. Whereas I agree, it wouldn't have been good business to just have Stone Cold Steve Austin lose to Brock Lesnar on just a Monday Night Raw for the King of the Ring qualifying. That you build that match up, that's a money match for both men. It's a big moment for Brock Lesnar. It just seemed like a silly thing to do on Raw. I get what he said. I get his reasoning for leaving. Just probably should have done a little bit better. And again, it's simple storytelling because of that. Steve left. Brock never got the opportunity to take on Stone Cold. Opportunity is here now. Brock's a very safe worker. We have nothing to worry about with Stone Cold getting hurt. With the Austin Theory match, you'd probably have to do the no disqualification like with Kevin Owens just to add to the match a little bit. With Brock Lesnar, you don't need that. There's no bells and whistles attached to this one. This would just be I'm a whoop your ass match. Brock Lesnar doing his thing, Stone Cold stomping, doing his thing. It's an effective, just straight up wrestling match we could have. Both men have said they want the match. Stone Cold has said plenty of times, like, if there's one person today I could wrestle, it is Brock Lesnar. And you know Brock Lesnar is just wanting to get that match after it was taken from him so many years ago. And obviously the biggest reason, well, not the biggest reason, but the most obvious reason this match could happen at WrestleMania is you need a night 1 main event, you need a night 2 main event, you need to sell around 200,000 tickets. If you're getting Roman Reigns versus The Rock, which is the big prediction everyone has for next year at WrestleMania, what do you put on night 1 to sell that night out as well? I don't know. Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Brock Lesnar. Those 2 main events right there are going to sell you the most amount of tickets based on what you have available right now. And I know people are part-timers. Shut up. WrestleMania is the show of shows. That's what these events are made for. Don't give me all the other events. I don't want to see that. Maybe Royal Rumble, I don't care because it's about the Rumble, not the matches. But as far as WrestleMania goes, I don't ever want to hear people just complain about part-timers being a part of it. Because if they're there, they draw money and the fans want to see them, they need to be there. Case closed. I love to see them jackass. I love seeing Pat McAfee this year's WrestleMania. I don't think there's 3 names you could have put in their spot that would have made me say, oh, well, that was probably better. Shut up. It was fun. And that's what WrestleMania is about. Fun, experience, event. So, Stone Cold part-timer versus Brock Lesnar, kind of a part-timer. I'm buying my ticket right now if that's possible. Because, again, Stone Cold versus Brock Lesnar will be so just phenomenal. Put Heyman back with Brock, too. You get Paul Heyman versus Stone Cold in a pro. Again, so beautiful. Just make it happen. Make it happen. And the number 1 name on this list, you might have been able to guess it. Because if you got a Texas rattlesnake, obviously we want to see a Viper go head-to-head with that. And I'm talking about the one and only legend killer Randy Orton versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. As I mentioned, you got the Texas rattlesnake, you got the Viper. That's how you start it. Who's the more deadly snake? Who's got more venom in him? That's it. Randy Orton, the old legend killer. What's one legend he hasn't killed? Stone Cold Steve Austin. He never got the opportunity. Now the opportunity is here. Bring back that legend killer for one more match against Austin. Give it to me. And Randy, his style with Stone Cold, again, it's a no bells and whistles match. It could be a straight up wrestling match. And with Randy Orton's style. It's slow and methodical. It works well with Steve at this age. This age is a factor. Even though he looked fantastic with Kevin, if he gets a slower pace match, it's going to be a lot easier for him to perform at a higher level. He's not going to be like, oh man, I'm gasping, I'm out of it. Nope. With Randy, he could take his time and he could get some of that air back in him and he could perform maybe even a longer match. Might get a 20, 25-minute match against Randy Orton. And I'm all for it because Randy knows how to tell stories in the ring. He knows in-ring psychology. Stone Cold, we know that. So we're going to get one of those old-fashioned kind of matches that we all long for. Maybe not the new wrestling fans, but wrestling fans like me, we long for those matches where they're just, the pace is just like, okay, he's sinister. Okay, I see why he's doing that. That's setting up that. It's beautiful. Austin and Randy would be able to paint a fantastic picture in that ring. And again, it's just the legend killer. Randy is the RK Bro thing. It comes to an end. He's never been a great babyface to begin with. This is probably his best run. So when that thing's done, he's gonna have to come out the other end something different. Bring back the legend killer. We saw not that long ago. We had him going after Shawn and Rick and Big Show and Mark Henry during the Drew McIntyre stuff. So it's still there, and even Triple H and the little and he took out Chris. Man, there's so many names he's been taking out recently. So it's not even like it's something you're pulling out of anywhere. Like he still does it from time to time. So you get Austin come out there talking about he's ready for WrestleMania 39. Out comes the legend killer, takes him out. Yep, done. I'm sold. Give me my ticket. Give me 2 tickets. So I'm that invested already. Randy Orton versus Stone Cold. That's a main event match for night 1 of your WrestleMania. And who's gonna complain about that one other than the people who just complain about WWE anyway? And I don't care about them. We're talking about the WWE fans, the people who love this shit. Who's gonna complain about Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Randy Orton? Raise of hands. Raise of hands. Nobody. Put your hands down if you're putting them up because you're silly, you're stupid, and I don't want to hear it. So there you have it. Those are the matches. Now, if you enjoyed this, over the next 3 days, I'm going to be releasing a match a day. We're going to get the Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Austin Theory. We're going to get the Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Brock Lesnar. From D's Games, he's going to help me out. He's going to supply that match for us. So make sure you're checking that one out when I release it on the Twitter machine and Facebook and all that other good stuff. And then on the 3rd day, I'm going to release Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Randy Orton again on 2K22. So thank you for them for making these dreams possible, and thank me for giving them to you along with this insightful take on Stone Cold and his future in the ring, wrestling ring, And with that said, it's time for the goodbyes. If you know me, I'm going to thank you probably 3, 4, 10, maybe 20 times because I'm truly grateful. I thank you for watching. I thank you for putting up with me. For those who have subscribed, I thank you. If you're not subscribed, I'll give you a second to do that right now. Just hit the subscribe button. Thank you. And then while you're at it, hit the notification button so you know when those matches are going to drop. You'll just be able to be like, oh, look. Oh, there's the Austin Theory match. Thank you. Thank you, Drip King of Wrestling, Jimmy Bebe. And as always, like the video if you liked it. And if you didn't, I still would appreciate if you liked it. And share it with your friends. Let everybody know. So, with that said, thank you one last time. And this is goodbye. So, boom. Goodbye, baby.